Man, Sony's really, for some reason, trying to give bad press to themselves. I don't know what they're trying to do, but welcome back, guys. This week's a little interesting again. Thankfully, it's a lot more better or just kind of interesting things than actual bad news, so unfortunately, we're gonna have to start with the bad news with Sony again. But once after that, you'll get some good news. I think. Maybe. We'll have to see about that. Today, we're going to start by talking about how Sony's shafting all the developers that aren't already established and huge by talking about the remake of The Last of Us. While the game still exists in the hands of Naughty Dog, the studio that was trying to make it basically got shafted. And so throughout the article, Jason Schreier talks about how this is causing a ripple effect within the company. And so games like Days Gone, Dreams, that either did decently well and could have been expanded upon, or had an interesting idea that never got fully realized, basically are just getting just sent into the graveyard. Because games like God of War, Uncharted, and The Last of Us Part 2 are basically doing 10 million plus sales copies and are getting, industry wide recognition for how good they are, but they just, it's just causing other studios to just basically be put on the wayside. And so I'm assuming games like Horizon Zero Dawn and The Ghost of Tsushima, while those were new games from basically established developers, if those games didn't do well, I just don't know if they would be continuing on with those series. I know at least Horizon Zero Dawn's getting a new update or new game very soon. Ghost of Tsushima, while the game just got released, got like a multiplayer update and might get a part two or like a continuation within this world, in that world. So we'll see what happens. But I definitely think this is the wrong direction to take, or at least, if they want to focus on blockbusters like The Last of Us Part 2, Uncharted, and the God of War series, I think that's fine. I think it's good to have those types of games where, it's like a cinematic kind of blockbuster, give or take, with game elements in it. But I think like Dreams, Days Gone, maybe not like the most popular games, more niche-ish. I think those games should still exist because it increases the repertoire of games that Sony has and basically can pull back on if they want to expand their foothold within the console industry. And so unfortunately, I'm not sure if this is just essentially sell PS5s for now and then they'll focus on more niche things in the future, or if this is the new direction that Sony's trying to take. Compare this to Xbox, where they are releasing more games so that they can fill their Xbox Game Pass with games. While I don't think that's necessarily a good idea some of the time, if like the games are just being released just to be put on there, but at least as far as I can tell, most of Microsoft's Game Pass games are just good games, and they're being put on the Game Pass. So we'll see what Sony does in the future, and we'll see what Microsoft does in the future. But I definitely hope this isn't what's going to happen, because games like Returnal, Rift Apart, and future games that do come out, if they don't sell as much as Sony wants, does that mean it's going to end up getting shafted or pushed to the wayside? Insomniac's no longer an indie developer, which was kind of odd with how many games they were making for PlayStation. But that's besides the point. But like, essentially, if Ratchet and Clank doesn't do well, they're just going to stop it. At least this is what I'm getting from their direction, from Sony's new direction, and that'd be kind of a shame. Returnal, this seems like a really good game, or at the very least a good concept. And so if it doesn't sell well, is Sony just going to drop it? Like the whole idea and its whole world? I don't know. They might do that, and I'm kind of scared if that does happen. So we'll hope that Sony doesn't do that, and instead this is just a push to get the PS5 to get off the ground, make sure it gets in the hands of many people first, and then from there, they put more into niche games like Dreams, Days Gone Part 2 maybe, and so we'll see what happens in the future. Now, I did promise I was going to get you some interesting news, so on Tuesday, Jimmy Fallon decided to play Among Us with the cast of Stranger Things and other huge Twitch streamers on Tuesday. Yeah, if you watch the video, it's I mean, it's fine. It's just that he had a 5 FPS camera when he's got studio cameras to probably use. Definitely wasn't that great at the game, but that's whatever. We're not, gamers that are exclusive only to one group. But, like, there were many things I think they did kind of wrong, such as talking while they're dead. And I guess as a very casual setting, it doesn't matter that much. I just feel like if they wanted to be a little bit more immersed, they should have just not done that. But, I mean, he's hosting his own show, and he's bringing mainstream attention to video games. So, I mean, you know? I think it's a good thing, as so long as, you know, he's proliferating how the video game scene is not just bad, it's actually very interesting, and it's, you know, not detrimental to children's health and whatnot. So, I think this is a win overall. It's kind of funny, but hey, you know, who knows? So to begin with some other interesting news, Epic is set to lose at least $330 million in its battle-to-game market share from Steam, mainly due to offering exclusive games and free titles on its Epic Game Store. Now, as big as Epic is with Fortnite and their other first-party games, or games that are exclusive to their console, or to their storefront, I mean, sure, they're losing money now, but I know many other companies that have lost money in the beginning, or in their inception, but they ended up coming back and making a huge profit. Amazon's like one example there. And so Tim Sweeney posted basically that there's 160 million PC customers for the Epic Game Store. I don't know what MAU is. 56 million, I guess, active users. Monthly active users, yeah. So in December, so I mean, that's like give or take a third that are constantly active. That's good. $700 million were spent by PC players on the Epic Game Store, and $265 million were spent by players on third-party PC games in the Epic Game Store. These numbers reflect actual spending by customers, don't include the value of coupons, so on and so forth. Yeah, so I mean, sure, while they might be losing $330 million or more, depending on what's happening, I mean, it's not like they're not making any money at all. I definitely think as so long as they can continue updating their storefront with adding either new first-party games or adding other exclusive third-party games, I mean, the Epic Game Store definitely has the ability to just take off. If Steam becomes truly complacent and does nothing, then sure, I think Epic has the ability to overtake them. While Valve still has their exclusivity with their like Half-Life series, Portal, and some other few games here and there, and particularly with some live service games like Dota, kind of CS:GO, I definitely think Steam will still have this main consumer base within their ecosystem, but I definitely think the Epic Game Store has the ability to at least have some staying power. We'll have to see, though, what Tim Sweeney does in the future, if they'll continue releasing free games, because I know at the very least I've taken a look at the Epic Game Store, and I'm like, maybe I want this, maybe I don't. So we'll see exactly what they do in the future to either boost more players to come to their storefront, or if they will do some like big thing, or just continuously just add more games to the store. We'll see what they do. I do think this is interesting though, and I think competition's always good, particularly within the storefront section, because Steam was kind of getting complacent. So we'll see where this takes us in the future. Now, I'm going to move on to some video game news. Is Sega remastering Sonic Colors? I mean, if they are, it sounds like a decent idea. At least from what I remember, the game was received very positively and ended up starting the whole like subsection of the 3D games, or like this type of 3D game. It was what? Sonic Colors, Sonic Generations, and I think like a few other games. And so at least from what I remember, Sonic Colors was the most well received. And so we'll see where this goes to in the future. Definitely hope that Sega ends up, you know, making good Sonic games. Good games is always good, you know? Increase the pool of good games that you can play. So we'll see what happens here. On to the next interesting set of news. Diablo 2 Resurrected is being played by some people, including SkillUp, and supposedly at least from SkillUp. I trust his opinion the most. They've done a superb job on this, and the core game continues to have a level of playability that exists independent of the nostalgia bait. Wasn't expecting a formula this old to hold up this well. And so basically, what's my take on this? I don't know. I haven't played the original Diablo 2 because I was just a wee child back in the day. And as far as the game itself, like in this day and age with this company, I mean, Vicarious Visions is known for being really good at remastering or remaking games and pushing out a decent product. Just take a look at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. And I think, what did they do? Was it the Crash Bandicoot remake, or was it? I think it was the Crash Bandicoot remake and or the Spyro Reignited trilogy. So either way, I'd expect a company like Vicarious Visions to make a good game, a good remake from a previous game. But like, what's this mean for like Diablo 4? Are they gonna like take things from Diablo 2 Resurrected and then move it on to Diablo 4? Maybe. I don't know what this is meant to do besides just sell more Diablo games, right? I don't see the purpose of this, but I mean, hey, I guess it's meant to get the old school gamers back into Diablo so that when they do eventually announce Diablo 4, not Diablo Immortal, hey, it'll get more people on. So, will I get this? I don't know. Granted, I don't really want to support Activision Blizzard, particularly with their whole, how do I put this? Human rights violations? I don't want to support them, honestly. But, I mean, hey, if you want to play the game, at least from Skill Up and I think a few other people, the game sounds good. It's Diablo 2, just new graphics and maybe a few balance updates and whatnot. I know they added a few classes and like a few new areas and whatnot. So, hey, if you like the original Diablo 2, you should get this. If you like Diablo 3, you'll probably like this too, I think, because it was literally just like Diablo 3 was just Diablo 2, but just bigger, better, stronger. So, we'll see. Anyway, if you like the game, I think you should just get it, but I'm not personally, probably. And now finally, onto some little trollish news. Is Neopets is coming to the Nintendo Switch? I mean, okay. I don't know what to think about this, sure. If they want to move Neopets to the Nintendo Switch, that's fine and great, but wasn't their model based on something comparable to the Amiibos? Essentially where you had to like buy the pets in real life and then they could use a code to put them in the game. I mean, I could see this working, but Neopets is kind of old, right? And it's like not that popular anymore. Particularly the Toys to Life industry has kind of faded away because Activision started it and then completely trashed it with the yearly releases, and then all the other companies like Disney, Lego try to get on it, and then that got trashed. I mean, we'll see if they can do a new spin on the Neopets for Switch, but at this point, I think they should just let it die. Unless it's making them money, in that case, you can continue and maybe just ignore my advice. But at least from somebody that I kind of played like Neopets at the beginning, or at least at some point, I don't know if this is worth continuing. But I mean, hey, if people are still playing it and people are still loving it, I guess more options is just better. So, hey, move it on to the Switch. But yeah, I'm probably not going to play this unless they make some big overhauls and the like. So, we'll see. Well, anyway, that seems to be the end of this week's gaming news. Not particularly huge, at least in comparison to like last week's with Sony closing down their storefronts and essentially just shafting all those that wanted to play PlayStation 3, PlayStation Portal, and PlayStation Vita games. But I mean, it's still kind of significant with Sony's new direction. I definitely think it's the wrong move to make, but I mean, it's their company. If they make a ton of money, I mean, what can I say? They're making money. But we'll see in the future if this is what Sony's actually doing, or if this is just a for now thing to sell PS5s and then come out with more niche games or updates to PS4 games like Dreams to be moved on to the PlayStation 5 console. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully next week we'll get no bad news, but I just know that's not going to happen. But we'll see in the future. Anyway, stay safe, y'all, and have a nice week.